for the penultimate round in this year's Ruogas World Cup of ski jump. Ari-Pekka Nicola of Finland trying to recapture the title that he last won in 1990. Well, this is the friendly 90-meter hill. Goldberger and Nicola, 200 points at Konabu Okabe. Only 3 times in the points so far this season. The man who had back problems right at the beginning of December went back to Japan, and we've only recently seen him appear. And that's a nice piece of timing, and Okabe, the hill record holder, gets in a good opening jump over 90 meters. And that's a good couple of meters over the 90. Okabe, who got a good 12th place in Lahti on the big hill there a couple of weekends ago, 92.5 meters, good style, the worst 18.5, and 122 points sets the pace in the first round. Okabe, who did well here last year in setting the hill record, although that wasn't good enough to give him the win. He finished second in the first of the 2 jumps behind Italy's Roberto Ceccon, another man to have lost the form of last season in a major way. Now here's the next man on the in-run, Didier Mollard for France. 1 week in December, his biggest success of the season so far, but that's a good jump there by Mollard. That's even further, a lot further than Okabe, and arguably that's his best jump of the season. He's in good form at the moment. He won a Continental Cup competition in the Alpes Maritimes over the last weekend at Breux, and 96 meters. Style not as good as Okabe, but the distance points giving him an advantage of 5 points over the Japanese. Well, this is early in the first round, but this is a good sign, and it will give confidence to the jumpers that follow. It just underlines the good atmospheric conditions today in Falun. They're the coaches on the tower looking up at their charges, giving them the nod when the conditions are at their best. Marian Bilcik, 22-year-old Slovakian now, didn't get any points this season in the World Cup until mid-January, and to date his best result, a 14th finish on Iron Mountain, the second of the 2 jumps there. Well, the landing a little hard, just shy of 90 meters there. 89 meters. Left it quite late, the tip's coming up quite hard, but steady on the flight there. 3rd place. Losing out on style and distance there. You can see the Finn not convinced about the landing, I don't think, as to whether it was a true and completed telemark. Finn is Martti Lapalainen. Now, the junior world champion of the current season, Michael Uhrmann from Bavaria, 18 years of age. His dad's a coach down in Bavaria of the C squad. Michael now trying to establish himself as a member of the A team, and well on his way to doing that. In terms of the World Cup, he's been 14th in Lillehammer right at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of December, and got another fair finish in Planica when he was 16th. But other than that, his focus has been Continental Cup, Junior World Championships. But certainly a man for the future. Quite tall, as you can see. And that's also very similar to Bilcik. Just short, I would say, of the 90-meter mark. And the dark night hiding the empty spaces. At 89 meters it is, 112.5, slightly better than Bilcik in terms of style. And 3rd place at the moment. He's all of 184 in height. Samogostisa, well, not a great start to the season. He only got 6 World Cup points in total during December. And that's also short of 90. And clearly, if Okabe can do 92 and Mollard 96 for France, there's a lot to come in this hill. Yeah, it's not quite coordinated. It wasn't a smooth transition. And 88.5, but the style better than Uraman, better than Bielczyk, and he grabs third place, or a share of it, I should say. 112.5 gives him equal third at the moment. From Zakopane, the World Cup, a visitor there at the end of January. But Wojciech Skupien's high point of the season so far, as we draw to the end, was in Oberhof when he was 10th. And that's around 88. In fact, it is 88 meters there for Skupien. And he hasn't scored any points since the World Cup was in Zakopane on his own home hill. So nothing since the end of January. And you can see there, 6th place. Gets the telemark, but little bits and pieces taken off for various imperfections. Japan next. And here's a man who's finding his form right at the end of the season. Yukitaka Fukita from Sapporo. Good 11th place on the big hill in Lahti 2 weekends ago. Ah, that's promising. Good height, and that's a good distance. Second longest, not as far as Mollard, but it's longer than Okabe. Round about 93 meters. And in fact confirmed at 94 meters for Fukita. Ski's not quite level, and looking at the landing here, 2-footed, and that's the major reason for the deduction. Not really achieving the telemark in classic style. So Fukita getting distance, but giving away points in terms of style. Randy Weber for the United States, a little disappointed. His ambition prior to the start of the season was to finish in the top 30. And at the moment, he's in 46th place coming into today's competition. Nice telemark, but he's short. But only 18 years of age from Steamboat Springs. And he's the flag flyer for a group of youngsters set to break through in the next couple of seasons. 8th at the moment, only 104.5 points. This was the young man who got a season's best in Predazzo when he was 6th. And that included 4 marks of 20 for style. Well, Jakub Sukarczyk was the 16th best ski jumper of last season. Currently 41st in the rankings, and Sukarczyk gets over 90. 90.5 meters for the teenager, whose best form this season has all come on the ski flying hills. 8th and 16th in Bad Mittendorf in the World Championships, and last weekend in Hanachow, 14th place. But you can see there for yourself, 2-footed on the landing again, looking for distance, getting over 90, but sacrificing 2.5 points deducted from each of the style judges. Slovenia now, Robert Meglitz. Another man who didn't start to make his mark until mid-January in terms of getting points. Short. Low 80s. 10th in Bad Mittendorf in the second of the 2 ski flying worlds. His best so far on the big hills, but a 5th at Zakopane at the end of January. Still his best actual outright best of the season, and in fact it's his personal best. And you can see not only short but also unstylish Meglitz 96.5 could well struggle to make the cut for a second jump. It's going to be right on the margin there, Meglitz. Sturle Holsetter from Vikersund. Well, he had a good start to the season, excellent one. 6th in Lillehammer, 7th in Harachov most recently, and those are, as you can put together for yourself, many, many weeks apart, and that's the sort of season he's had so far. Again, another low 80s jump there. Less than 85 meters. Sturle not fulfilling the early promise. So still in the lead, it's Didier Mollard for France, but of course there's a long way to go in this first round. We'll be back after these messages. So next to jump now, Dieter Thoma. And there the standings: France, Japan, Czech Republic and Slovakia. And the wind, as you can see, hardly a factor at all. Reinhard Hess without Gerd Zygmunt here, but hoping that Thoma can find something. Did well in qualifying. That's a good jump. That is a good effort by Dieter Thoma. Looks to be just as long as Mollard, which was around 96 meters. And Thoma, late form this season, 19s from Slovenia, dropping down to 17 for the Swedish judge, who's clearly not convinced that he got the telemark, but the others giving him the benefit of the doubt. And he takes the lead, 127.5 for Dieter Thoma, 26 years of age, from Hinterzarten. Next, it's Yasuzaki for Japan, same age as Dieter Thoma. Points in 9 out of 12. The first 12 of the season, 87 meters there for Yasuzaki. 7th in Lillehammer would be his best result in the first part of the season. Most recently, 5th place on the big hill in Sapporo on home snow. You can see there, good style, 19's agreement amongst the judges, good telemark. So the good style making up for the shortage of distance just a little bit there. Austria's Martin Höllwarth, also one of the longer jumpers in qualification today, 93.5 meters, so just a meter down on Dieter Thoma's performance. Höllwarth trying to recapture his ranking of 1992, and that's not bad, over 90. Martin, who was 10th in the World Cup rankings in 1992, the Olympic season in which he won 3 silver medals. 91.5 meters puts him into 5th place, nothing worse than 18.5 for style. Currently Höllwarth 26th in the rankings. Best part of the season for him so far has been from mid-December to mid-January in terms of gathering in the points. Now Lasse Ottesen, well, he collected no less than 173 points in the first 8 jumps of the season. But since then, I'm afraid the story has been one of decline. And that's a low 80s for Lasse. He was outside the top 15 in Harachov over the past weekend in the ski flying World Cup competitions. There were supposed to be 2 jumps there. The first one happened, the second cancelled due to the notorious Harachov wind. But Lasse Ottesen down in 14th place there, and no telemark landing. He really has struggled this season. Once a solid member of the top 15, not having to qualify, but these days down in the pack. Austria's Andy Widhersel second place in Iron Mountain in Michigan. In the first of the two jumps there, his best of the season and a personal best. And that's a nice effort there from Andy Ridhurzel. Very good. Gets some decent applause. 95 meters. Nicely timed, a good transition into flight. Shoulders well forward, and he won't be far off the lead. And in fact, he's got it. The style has done it, 19.5. He's half a meter down on the 96 meters produced by Dieter Thoma, but those style marks give the young Austrian the advantage. There's that really nice in-run. This is really one of the nicer hills around on the circuit. The hero of Kuopio, winning his first ever World Cup competition just a few weeks ago in the night jump there. Really found his form in the United States this year. And Savolainen, 21 years of age, just short of 90 meters in terms of distance, but certainly good enough to secure him a second jump. And just one of many Finns who've been contributing points throughout the season to ensure that Finland, whatever happens to the individual championship, are certain to be confirmed as the Nations Cup champions of ski jumping.
Hey, accent fine.
Nicolas Jean-Pro. Well, Frank Salby, as I mentioned a little earlier, really disappointed. He puts it down to last summer. After having such a good season, he rather let them look after their own preparation, and they didn't deliver the goods, as they say, and not being fit enough and well enough prepared has really hurt their chances and hurt their performances throughout the season. Jean-Pro, a couple of meters below 90 here, 87.5 meters, 13th place at the moment, and still his first jump of the season in Lillehammer when he was 5th, his best of the current campaign, and 5th remains still to this day his personal best. The record or the analysis of Sylvain Freiholtz's season to date, well, the best we can say, 5 top 10 finishes. That really sums it up. But remember, today is jump number 27 of the season. Freiholtz, mid-80s. Currently 20th in the World Cup rankings. The highest he's ever been was 23rd. That was in 1992. So on that piece of statistical comparison, actually he's enjoying his best season. But I think Joachim Winterlich, the man who's taken over, taken charge of the Swiss coaching, will be looking for a lot better, more consistency from him next season. Ralf Gebstedt, well, in Chamonix in mid-December, when he stood on the podium in 3rd place in the first of the 2 jumps there, we thought this might well be a good season for him. It's not been a bad one, but it hasn't really been fulfilled. 5th in Sapporo, 7 times in the top 15, but he finds himself just inside the top 20 at the moment. And that's short. Not too many meters over 80 there for Ralf Gebstedt from Oberhof, and not finishing the season as strongly as he started it. 82.5 meters in the top 20 with exactly 100 points. But of course, still to come, Weissflog, Ahonen, Nicola and Goldberger. Well, while we were away paying the rent, I can tell you that Jaroslav Sakala of the Czech Republic put in an 85.5 meter jump. Sakala, another man who's had patchy, inconsistent form throughout the season, but that should just be good enough to get him a second jump. Now Marco Steinauer for Switzerland. Steinauer pretty solid in the top 15 for much of the season, but he's outside it now, having to qualify for inclusion in each of the competitions, currently 17th. But that's a good effort. 92 meters by Steinauer, and the style good. Look at this, 4th place. Nice and steady in the flight, and watch the landing. And the Swedish judge there, generally marking low. That's Akka Kinstedt. Not to be too critical on him. So Steinauer setting himself up for perhaps a good result here in this penultimate competition of the season. Austria lead, but it's a narrow one, just 1.5 points from Molar. Thoma tucked up in 3rd place there. Trond Pedersen, the head coach for the Norwegian team, looking up at Roar Jökulsøy. Jökulsøy had a good result in Harachov over the last weekend, 5th on the big ski flying hill there. And that's, by contrast, poor. But it often happens. It's difficult to make the adjustment from the big hill where you're looking to jump 200 meters to here, the 90-meter hill. And indeed, Christoph Dufner of Germany not taking part today in the competition for that very reason. He's gone away to sort himself out, practice for the Holmenkollen, the finale of the season on Sunday from Oslo. Giving himself time to make that adjustment, but Jökulsøy probably won't make the cut. Now here's another of the young sensations, 17-year-old Primož Peterka, the winner in Zakopane, and a couple of times a runner-up this season. Oh, and that was plenty of punch and power, and he's got superb height, and that's over 100 meters. That is a new hill record. Peterka screams over the 100-meter mark. And he hasn't just broken the hill record, he's taken it into new territory. That must be 4, if not 5 meters beyond. It's 105 meters. The style, well, he's gone for distance, and he's got 105 meters. 16.5, the Swedish judges not giving him the telemark. The Slovenians and Germans thinking that he did, the Finn probably thinking that he didn't, but it doesn't matter, he's going to lead whatever happens. 15 meters, I reckon, over the calculation point at 90 meters means 30 bonus points for jumping, and that's going to give him a mighty advantage. There it is, confirmation. 141.5 points. Of course, those jumping points diminished by the subtractions for the poor style. But nonetheless, what an effort from Peterka, junior world silver medalist. Espen Bredesen. Bredesen, nice jump. Good style there. This is going to keep him in contention. Over 90, but well short of the 105 of Peterka. I would say 94. Bredesen, who had his one victory of last season here in the 2nd of the 2 competitions, and had a bit of fun and games here in training. Jumped and lost a ski in flight and landed on one ski and tumbled over. None the worse, as you can see. 94 meters for Bredesen with good style, because the 18.5 from the Swede won't count. Certainly put him up there in the first half dozen, and it does. 5th place. Bredesen, who won the World Cup in 1994 but dropped to 15th place in the rankings last year, currently 12th. Now another man who's been knocking on the door all season. I suppose if there was a special cut for consistency, Adam Małysz would be a prime contender. Małysz, also good power and flight, and that's over 100. It's not as far as Peterka, but that looks to have exceeded Okabe's hill record of last year, which was 100 meters. And that's going to be surely worth 2nd place. Now, the interesting thing here is The style is much better, as you can see, but not good enough to close up the differential of, I think, 4 meters. Peterka will certainly still lead, but Małysz must be quite a close second. Not more than a couple of points, really, should be between the two. Because remember, Peterka was getting 16s and 17s. And that's a good effort there, just to confirm it, because the caption went away very quickly. 139 points for Małysz, 141.5 for Peterka, so just 2.5 points. Małysz, shorter in distance, better in style. This is Nishikata for Japan. And over 90. But now with 2 jumps over 100 meters, the pressure's really on everyone. Nishikata, last 3 jumps, he's finished 6th, 9th and 12th, so on a mini decline at the moment. And 92 meters, and a real variety of assessment there from the style judges leaves him in 10th place. 118.5 points to the leaders, 141.5. So more than 10 meters for him to find on the second jump, even to be on terms with Peterka. Jani Soininen, Finland's World Cup winner, yet another of them, his triumph coming in Engelberg in Switzerland, mid-January. Soininen just short of 90. Well, in fact, clearly short of 90, probably 88 meters. Soininen, who was ranked 7th last year, currently 9th, so a little work to do if he wants to at least improve on that. You can see there, the ski's not quite parallel, and just a little wide on the landing there. That's the reason for the deductions. Another World Cup winner this season, Reinhard Schwarzenberger, seems to save his winning ways for the Four Hills Championship. Last year it was in Oberstdorf. This year it was in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. And that's not bad. Nice as far as style, not too much damage there, just a little short, under 90 meters, so deductions, remember it's 2 points off for every meter below 90. 12th. Again, the style, as I suggested, holding him in contention. Now, he is higher ranked at the moment than he achieved last year. He was 14th last season, currently 8th place. Not really in the title race, but at 19, still learning the trade, as they say. The powerful Hiroya Saito. First time a World Cup winner for him also this season. In France at Chamonix in the second of the 2 competitions. Last 3 jumps, a little bit of a mixture, 8th, 15th and 11th. But he always seems to be there or thereabouts. And he has the possibility of pulling out a big jump. And that's got nice flight, and that's over 90. And 93 meters there for Saito. Style, nothing worse than an 18.5, and in the top 10. 122 plays the leaders 141, so that's what, 19 odd points. Call it 20 just to make it simple. Another man who's got to find 10 meters in the second round to be on terms. There it is, Slovenia lead from Poland, Austria a 3rd, France a 4th, and Germany 5th. Good mixture. But now some real contenders. Harada, 4 times a winner this season for Japan. Oh, and that's a good long jump. He's there again in the firing line. Didn't compete in Harachov. Hasn't really bothered at all with the ski flying this season. He's focused on the 90 and 120 meter hills. 97 meters, 3rd place, 131 points, 10 points off the pace, 5 meters to find. Harada winner in Villach, Iron Mountain 2, and of course the double in Lahti, the 90 and 120-meter hills. Mika Laitinen, well, he won the first half of the season. Unfortunately, there are no World Cups for that. Then he lost his way, a momentary loss of concentration, got himself injured, broke his collarbone, missed January and February, coming back in March and finding form almost immediately. And Laitinen looks to be just about on 90 there. Last 4 jumps for Mika Laitinen, 6th, 2nd, 6th and 4th. 4th last weekend in Harachov. And 90 meters it is. And it is really a remarkable comeback. There wasn't any problem in his mind. It was just that, of course, he lacked a lot of jumping experience. You get rusty being unable to perform. So here's Jens Weissflog with what we believe are just 2 jumps individually for him left in his career, and what a great career it is. 33 wins to date. Weissflog, who was on the podium here last year in 3rd place. Oh, this is not bad. Weissflog not far away from Harada there. Harada had 97, and there can't be much in that. So Weissflog with work to do certainly on the 2nd jump, but not out of the question. 4th place, 130 points, 21 and a half behind Peterka, who still leads for Slovenia. But the skis weren't quite straight in flight. But we must wait to Oslo to find out whether it really will be the final jump of his career. Jani Ahonen, 3rd in the World Cup rankings last season. That's where he is today. And Ahonen over 90, but short of Weissflog. Now that's quite interesting because Ahonen's some 370 points behind the leaders. Goldberger and Nicola are still to jump, and no chance of attacking them for the title. But there's only 33 points separating Ahonen and Weissflog for 3rd place in the final ranking. So a little pride here. Weissflog would like to finish on the podium, I'm sure, in his final season. Ahonen twice a winner. First jump of the season, or in fact the first weekend of the season, and at Bad Mittendorf in the ski flying world championships, the first of the 2 jumps there. So now Ari-Pekka Nicola, who's led the championship pretty well since Mika Laitinen, his teammate, was sidelined from injury, but now has given away to Andy Goldberg. He's got to try and hold his form together. Over 90 there. In the last 4 competitions, he's not been any better than 7th. And the only consolation is that Andy Goldberger's form has not been particularly wonderful either. 92 meters, 121, so he's 20 points behind the lead. But he's got to hope now that Andy Goldberger doesn't really outjump him by that much. Andy Goldberger, of course, coming back to form in Harachov, winning last weekend to confirm himself as the skiing flying master of the season, world champion and World Cup champion. Oh, that was well done by Goldberger. That was well timed, and that's a good jump with good style. So, well over 90. Should get 19 and a half, 93 meters. So it's longer, but in fact, I thought it was a bit longer than that. My mistake, and apologies for misassessing the horizontal line, but 93 meters only puts him a meter beyond Nicola, but psychologically gives him the edge. but a fair amount for him to make up on the first round leader, Primož Peterka of Slovenia, with a new hill record of 105 meters. And as you can see there, he's got a 2.5 point advantage over Adam Małysz. So that's a meter between the top two. Then Harada with something like 5 meters to make up. The same for Weissblog. Molar having his best jump of the season so far in World Cup competition. Dieter Thoma also equal on points there and showing some late or so to the second jump. And the tall Norwegian Lasse Ottesen at the top of the hill, sitting, waiting patiently. Ottesen, just to remind you, a talented ski jumper, but a man who's lost his form, the Olympic silver medalist on the 90-meter hill in Lillehammer in 1994. And that's not as much as he needed by a long, long way. That's not 80 meters. Ottesen, who's never won a World Cup jump, and it's here in Falun in 1993 that he got his personal best to date when he finished second. But he's not going to finish second today. He could well finish 35th, and if he does, he won't get any World Cup points whatsoever. Poor second effort there. So now Robert Meglitz. The jury being very careful here after that 105-meter jump of Peterka to control the in-run speed and thus the ultimate distance. So this is going to require good technique to get the distance here. 83.5 meters for Robert Meglitz of Slovenia. So two jumps of matching distance. And Meglitz, not a great season really for him. It hasn't really lived up to his hopes and expectations. Same could be said for Ralf Gebstedt. So Gebstedt 82.5 meters the first time. Only 100 points, 41 points behind the first round leader. In sheer distance terms, that's 20 meters to find. So that's a big, big requirement. Two-footed on landing. And that's mid-80s there for Gebstedt. Germans will be looking forward, as we all will, to the finale. The Holmenkollen, always a classic, but just that little bit more occasion this year, hosting the World Cup finals. And now looking as if it's going to be the hill on which the individual title is going to be decided. Of course, Andy Goldberger and Ari-Pekka Nikkola still pretty close together. If one fails and one succeeds in a major way, well, I suppose it could be wrapped up tonight, but that's unlikely because both men are well off the pace of the leaders, so neither really have got a chance of getting the major points, the 100 points for the victory that would make the really big difference. So it's likely to go down to the wire. Next man now, Sturle Hulsetter. The Norwegians with a good crop of jumpers, but again, Trond Pedersen must feel a sense of frustration having Ottesen out of form and Halvorsen and Hulsetter not living up to their early promise. It's a long season, patchy, just 12 times in the points. .86.5 meters and 88.5. Doesn't really advance his cause at all. Zane Palmer, US coach, looking up to Randy Weber. So just outside the points in 31st place after the first jump. Weber's going to come in short there. That's less than 80. As I mentioned, when he jumped in the first round in Predazzo, under the night lights and the driving snow there early in December, he picked up his best result of the season. That was a 6th place, and in doing so, 4 out of the 5 star judges gave him 20, a maximum. And it could well be that he'll never repeat that again. Hopefully he will, but it's a pretty good score. Not many achieve that in their career. Now Jaroslav Sakala. Sakala, 5 times in the top 7 this season. Hasn't won since 1994. And inconsistent, really, the adjective which describes his season. Very good 2nd place in Kuopio on the 90-meter hill there, again at night, and a 3rd place on the big hill at Lahti. Those his 2 best performances of the season so far. And under 80 meters. Sakala was runner-up in the World Cup back in 1993 and just outside the podium, finished 4th in the rankings in 94, and last season had slipped down to 35th place. Well, at the moment he's up to 18th. 3rd at the moment in tonight's competition, but unlikely to hold on to that for very much longer. Now Freiholz. Problem with Sylvan is when he's got the confidence, he's a very good jumper and he can match the best, but when he just loses the feel, he tightens up, sometimes tries that a little bit too hard, and he really is frustrating. It must be frustrating for Joachim Winterlich to try and find the key to this man's mind, to just unlock him and give him the freedom to really jump and use the ability, which he certainly has, but not tonight. That's very short. In fact, it's probably 15 meters short of what he did in the first round, and that was 86 and a half, and this is barely 70 or a little bit more. 71 meters. Well, smile of friendship more than happiness. Next is Skupian, with their main man Adam Malish in a very solid position to try and look for his first victory. Still quite a few to come before we see Adam, though. Skupian, mid-80s, so better than 1 or 2 who've just preceded him. Wojciech, 26 years of age now. He's really got to start to produce something, although Pavel Ploch, the new man, might prepare to be a little bit patient, but I think he'll be looking for good performances next year. And the Poles, they've got quite a good young group, and places may be harder to come by next season. Jean Pro for France. 87.5 meters, as you can see. Well, he's a nice man, good company, but he's disappointed himself and his coach Franck Salvi this year. He was really the #1 Frenchman in terms of rankings last year with Nicolas Desum. The 2 men really proudly flew the flag for France. Desum not here, the only Frenchman to ever win a World Cup. He's been put into the Continental Cup competitions by Franck. And I think the regime for the French this coming summer is going to be a lot tougher. Last year when they came back from the summer, they were overweight. They hadn't controlled their weights, and Frank tried for their own best interest to impose a diet on the French team. A lot of them really couldn't cope with that mentally. They were very, very upset about it. But the reality is that they started the season behind in terms of physical preparation, and it's really been a case of chasing for them all through the year. Now Yasuzaki had a very, very poor effort, Yasuzaki, in the first round. 87 meters, poor by his standards, because he really has got the ability to put good results together. Personal best at Lahti a couple of years ago when he was 4th. Red light on, just waiting for the conditions to be approved. The wind still not really doing anything at all, but conditions not quite as favorable as they were for the first jump, but it's marginal. Manabu Ono, the man in charge of the Japanese squad, building the speed up to over 80 kilometers. And that little delay hasn't inspired Yasuzaki below 80 meters. And he'll drop down the order. Real question as to whether he'll get in the points there. 75 meters. Just waiting for the German assessment. And I don't think that's going to count. If that was a 20, I'm a Dutchman, and it doesn't really make too much difference. So Janne Soininen in a few moments will be building up the in-run speed to some 50 miles an hour, looking to improve on his first jump of 88 meters. And he hasn't done that. It's over 80, but it's certainly not 88. So a quiet start, no fireworks in the early phase. But to be fair, all these men with a lot of jumping to do to even get back on terms. 84 meters, 216 points. He's in second place at the moment. But of course, the best still to come. Well, Samo Gostiza still his best of the season, a 14th in Kuopio. The last 3 jumps, 14th, 17th, 19th, so he's on the descent rather than the ascent. Good in-run speed, but Gostiza not transmitting that, or not transferring that speed into flight and distance. Just under 80 meters. Quite a bit of movement in the flight there. 17.5 for style. Gets the telemark, but lost quite a lot of marks from the judges for in-flight imperfections. Falun, a regular stop on the World Cup tour. So what can the junior world champion do this time around? You can see he was just a meter short of the calculation point first time around. Now, can he get over 90? No one's done it yet in this second jump, and the crowd, not a big one. A little on the quiet side, to say the least. No, that didn't come together the way he would have wished. And Orman, another man to be sub 80 meters. Well, whatever happens, this will be a season that will stick in his memory a long, long time, becoming junior world champion. Competition very hot in the junior ranks there. And quite a difference there. Look at the difference, 16.5 to 18, the assessment on style. Marian Bielčík. Well, Slovakia, not really a force this season in World Cup. And Bielčík also under 80 meters. Outside the top 50 in the current World Cup rankings. So Bielčík, 79 meters confirmed. And just rather dead conditions, really. And the timing and the technique and the transference from the tight tuck on the in run to the real power push from the thighs, and the timing of that move, the fluency of movement from the tight tuck into flight. Absolutely the difference between good and bad jumps at the moment on this hill. And that's Reinhard Schwarzenberger. Oh no, it's not, it's Sukašek. My apologies for the Czech Republic. Sukašek, a frustrated teenager. So promising, so good last year. Included a second place in Lahti, which remains his personal best, but this year he's struggled to find the form. Seemed so easy and so natural 12 months ago. Now, can't find the key. Just can't unlock the form. But it isn't a tablet that you swallow and suddenly you get that good feeling. Reinhard Schwarzenberger's had good feelings on the hills this season. And that's much better. That's a decent jump. It's the longest jump we've had of the first round, and it's only a couple of meters short of 90, so this is going to be the new leader now. 88 meters, 225 points. Ski's not quite together, landing just a little wide and wobbly, but not too bad. And the 19-year-old from St. Veit sets a new target for the rest to chase. A winner in Garmisch, second in Sapporo and Engelberg. Schwarzenberger currently 8th in the rankings, and that's an improvement on last year's 14th place finish, with just one jump for him remaining now in Oslo. Finish flags for the man from Kuopio, a winner on his own home hill just a few weeks ago, Savolainen. Not as far as Schwarzenberger, but respectable. Mid-80s, perhaps a little bit more there for Kimmo Savolainen. 21 years of age, from the Finnish ski jumping factory of Kuopio. So many of their stars coming from there. Nicola and Mika Laitinen, of course, just two more to mention. And just aware of the business end of his trade as well as the sporting end. There it is, Austria from Finland, Poland, Skupian, then Finland again with Soinen and Jean Pro at the moment down in 5th place. 225, but that is not going to stand for very long, surely. Here's Mika Laitinen, 9th in the World Cup rankings. Last season, currently 5th, the world bronze medalist last year on the 90-meter hill in Thunder Bay. That, perhaps in hindsight, was the big signpost for us to the form that he showed right at the beginning of this season. Virtually unbeatable in December. And in pretty good shape since he came back from the collarbone injury. And that's not bad. That is now the longest performance of the second round. That's better than Schwarzenberger by perhaps a meter. Not quite 90 though. But Laitinen will take the lead surely. Yes, he does. 4.5 points better than Schwarzenberger and Mika Leitinen, maintaining his challenge to finish at least in the top 5. What a season it could have been but for that injury. Might have beaten the 10 in a season record for wins set by Matti Nykänen, the legendary Finn. Might have won the World Cup. Could have easily won the 4 wheels. It was all there, but for one momentary loss of concentration. Now Jani Ahonen, teammate of Leitinen, who's struggled in recent weeks. 3rd best jumper of last season, but at the moment he's fighting to stay in that position in the current campaign. And that's no better than, as you can see there, 84 meters. And Jens Weissflog of Germany's right on his tail in 4th place. So a good performance by Weissflog in his 2nd jump. And remember, he out-jumped Ahonen by 5 meters in the 1st round. Could see 3rd and 4th place positions flip-flop at the end of today's competition. Now Jinja Nishikata, well, he looked as if he was going to have a terrific season, a much more settled man. The home life a lot more calm and peaceful this season than it was last. But the early season promise hasn't been fulfilled, or maintained, I should say. And Nishikata crawls over 80 meters there. Good, solid member of the Japanese team. Remember, the Japanese won the team jumping competition in Lahti, their first ever World Cup success. What a joyous day that was for them to do it on Finnish snow, of all places. And the Japanese team will be in action in Oslo for the final team event of the competition, and Nishikata will be playing his part there, although today, not one to remember. Now Martin Hulvart. Hulvart, 87.5 meters for this 21-year-old from Meyerhofen. That's not bad. 87.5. Not bad, has to be at the moment put in the context of the distances we're getting. Remember, the longest we've had so far was Mika Leitinen's effort of 89.5, so this is close up. And 2nd place, although he jumped 1.5 meters further than Leitinen in the 1st round, his 2nd jump not of the same quality in terms of distance and indeed in terms of style. There it is, just half a point separating the first two, and Hulvart's teammate Schwarzenberger now in 3rd. Ari Pekka-Nikkola, this is an important effort from him. Looking a little better. Now, the interesting thing here will be the style marks, what he gets for the landing. That's 88 meters, but if he gets 19s and 18.5, he'll be mighty relieved, and he's got that. First, he leads at the moment, and Ari Pekka-Nikkola, but of course, Andy Goldberger still to come. So, next to jump now, Yukitaka Fukita with an excellent 94-meter effort the first time. Fukita really is finding a little bit of form right at the end of the 4-month campaign. And Fukita keeping himself in contention with a mid-80s jump there. Now is that going to be good enough to keep the lead? It surely should be. Yes, it is. 86.5. Those are better points than Nicola, who's going to drop into 2nd place.
Nicht gleich nervös werden. Geduld wird belohnt. Das einzig wahre Barsch. Steiner.
From the first swing to the last, we're there to tell you what's happening on the European Tour. Golf throughout the season on Eurosport. Just sit back and enjoy the show.
This program is brought to you on Eurosport by Volvo.
The Dubai Desert Classic, every day, midday on Eurosport.
So now we're down to the top 1 dozen jumpers from the first round. This is Hiroya Saito, 95 meters he really needs. And that's not a bad, and he's got it. That looks very close to 95 meters. So Saito looking for a really good effort there. In fact, 85.5. Again, my apologies for mistaking the line. Puts him into third place. It was 93 meters that he got in the first round, and Saito, a World Cup winner this year in France, not going to be on the podium for very much longer, I don't think. Now Takanobu Okabe, who really has had a disappointing season, spent much of it back home in Japan. This 25-year-old jumper from Sapporo, the world champion on the normal hill, and 92.5 meters the first time, and that really does look over 90 meters, and a very, very similar distance. Now, if he's done that, Okabe will surely go into the lead. Nicely timed. Look at that, hands glued to the side. The ski's not quite level and steady, but that's a 92.5 meter effort, 244.5, and he takes command. So Takanobu Okabe, 9 times a runner-up in his career, including Falun in the first of the 2 competitions here last season, leads in 1996, and could be on his way to at least the best result of the season for him. He's not been better than 12th to date. Now Marco Steinauer, and the Swiss doesn't get what he needs. Steinauer, 92.5, the same as Okabe on the first jump, but he must be a good 10 meters short of that. Steinauer a couple of times 5th, but he's been 4th on 2 occasions this season, Planitza and Engelberg. But really only 4 times in the points since mid-January, and the best of those are 16th place in Lahti, and that poor effort will have really knocked him down the table. So Japan 1 and 2, Finland, Nicola in 3rd place. If he hung on to that, he gets 60 World Cup points. He'd be pretty happy with that, but he isn't going to do it. Now here's the man who really is in the driver's seat with Nicola. It's all about these 2 men at the moment for the individual Rogas title of World Cup champion for the season. Andy Goldberger, 80. Well, he really needs 90 meters now. Andy Goldberger, who in the first round produced a 93-meter jump, and that isn't 90, it's high 80s. So that isn't going to overtake Okabe. It's just a question of whether it's going to overtake Nicola. Nicola had 92 and 88.5. And this is very similar. He's 2nd. He's ahead of him into 2nd place at the moment. Good style there from Andy Goldberger. 6 times a winner this season, gives him a total of 20 career wins. But the most important thing for Andy Goldberger is that if he can't get away from Nicola in a major way, at least he keeps ahead of him. And the gap between the 2 men has hardly widened. It was 3 points before the start of today's competition, and I fancy it's not going to be much more at the end of the evening. Trond Pedersen now looking up to Espen Bredesen. Bredesen, who was plagued all last year with a really annoying neck injury that really inhibited him, seems to have mentally overcome that now. Very good in the Four Hills Championship behind Weissflog. But that's a poor second effort there from Espen. Just about 80 meters. Espen, who finished 15th last year, he was 12th in the rankings this evening before the start of the competition, and that's really knocked him down the order. So 9th with 8 to come, so he could be outside the top 15. Now Dieter Thoma for Germany. Well, if you're going to keep ski jumping and you've had a rotten start to the season, the one thing you need to give you motivation to train through the summer and the autumn is a good finish. Dieter Thoma getting the timing right. That's nice by Dieter Thoma. Not bad. 86 or 7 meters to go with the 96 that he got in the first round. Remember, Dieter Thoma right up there in 6th place, equal with Didier Mollard, who will come to his performance in a couple of moments from now. Goes 2nd place there behind Okabe. Dieter Thoma. Just really needed to get over 90 meters. Giving away, Thoma giving away some 5.5 meters, so more than 10 points given back to Okabe on that second jump. Now Didier Mollard for France. I mentioned earlier we won a Continental Cup competition in Breux on French snow in the Alpes-Maritimes just outside Nice over the past weekend. Didn't go to the ski flying, so that's really perked him up, and he is jumping well now. Can he put in the second effort? Yes, this is good. Mollard gets a good second effort in, and that really is surely going to give him his best performance of the season so far. 96 meters in the first round, the same as Dieter Thoma, but unlike Thoma, he's put a better second effort in. And that's close to 89.5 meters, but still second. The reason being the distance there. Remember, Okabe on the first jump had 92.5 meters with good style, got 92.5 again. It's the differential on the second jump which is making, or I should say keeping, Okabe ahead. 5 to jump. Andy Widhersel for Austria, yet to win a World Cup competition. 95.5 meters. The first time he's under 90, but by only 1 or 2 meters. So this is going to be good points for him. Second in Iron Mountain, his best ever result. He was 5th in Zakopane, 6th in Bad Mittendorf. So he's had bits and pieces of really good form, Andy Widhersel, and good promise for the seasons ahead. Goes second at the moment to Okabe. And just looking at that, is it second or it's second equal? I think it's second equal, in fact. 241.5, there it is, confirmation on the left. Second equal with Didier Mollard. Thoma now down into 4th. So here's Jens Weissflog, 96.5 meters for the German master. And this second jump, a better one. A better one than most who preceded him, 92 meters, thereabouts, the same as Okabe. And that's certainly a lot better than Jani Ahonen. He's going to score much higher points. Goes into the lead, 2:53. He takes the lead away from Okabe with 2 to jump, 3 to jump, in fact, Harada, Malish and Paterka. Weissflog, who won the World Cup in 1984, and he actually hasn't ever won it again. He was second in 89 and second again 2 seasons ago, and he's too far off the pace to grab it this season, but could finish on the podium in 3rd place. So now Masahiko Harada, looking for his 5th win of the season. He hadn't won before this year, had been never better than 4th in World Cup competition. So what a transformation. And Harada gets a decent second effort, but it's not going to overhaul Weissflog. Harada, who had 97 meters the first time around, and 85.5 meters. That's an awful lot of distance given away to Weissflog. Weissflog with 96.5 and 92.5. So Adam Małysz broke the hill record, the old one set by Takanobu Okabe by a single meter. But of course, before him, the man who'll follow him, Peterka, had set a new record of 105 meters. Peterka on the left, keeping warm. Now Małysz looking for his first ever World Cup victory. Good jump there by Małysz, but it's not over 90. But remember, he's got 101, so put that together. Looks to be about 190 meters in total, compared with Weissflog's 187, so Małysz leads. The greater combined distance from the 2 jumps keeps Małysz ahead, although Weissflog the better on the second jump. But will it be enough? Well, on paper it won't, unless Peterka makes a mess of the second effort. And I have to say, nothing seems to have fazed this young man since he came to notice in the World Cup ranks. There it is, 254 points, 105 points to 105 meters for him. Małysz has got a total of 189.5. So just looking crudely in terms of distance, what Peterka has to do is produce a jump of, let's say, over 85 meters. Anything over 85 meters in decent style, and he'll just about hang on. And of course, what we're waiting for and hoping for is a fine finish, a little bit of a flourish. So the Slovenian gets ready, this good 17-year-old, a member of the Kran Ski Club, looking for victory number 2 of his season. Little bit of trimming and control. That's 90. That is 90 meters, and he wins in Falun. Didn't worry about it at all there. Peterka gets his second victory. Małysz is down into second place. Weissflog will be third. And the style, 18 to 19.5 the range, but it doesn't really matter. What mattered was that he got the distance down, and Slovenia rejoice. Peterka, who almost single-handedly has made respectability a word that the Slovenians can use themselves with regard to this sport. He wins there by, as you can see, 2.5 points, which is just about a meter ahead of Adam Małysz, with Weissflog in third place. Okabe getting a best of the season in fourth, ahead of Mollard for France, fifth. That's his best of the season. Vidhersel in fifth. Toma, that'll give him a bit of encouragement. Harada's getting good points again, and importantly, of competition. Conditions, the northeasterly wind, which forced the cancellation of yesterday and this morning's training, thankfully now has moderated sufficiently for tonight's competition. And it means that the jumpers who